very often people are saying that they didn't realize that clay and glass were an actual form of art. Very often people will associate clay and ceramics with the dishes that they have at home, or the cooking ware, and actually discover that there's a whole world out there that artists are looking at and experimenting with and researching. And that's always quite exciting when we get emails from people saying that they had a very special experience. That's always what we try to do. It's bring something special to the people, to bring them to discover a new world or a new visual art language, or a new approach to a different form of art than painting, for example.
Go behind the scenes at the Canadian Clay and Glass Gallery in Waterloo. Step into the vault containing 1,000 contemporary works by Canadian artists in ceramic, glass, and copper enameling. Curator Peter Flannery selects 6 pieces from the permanent collection to explore in detail, providing illuminating commentary about the work's materials, style, aesthetics, and allure.
I'm Denis Longchamp. I'm the Executive Director and Chief Curator here at the Canadian Clay and Glass Gallery. The gallery was built in the early 1990s and officially opened in June 1993. And it was the dream of 2 women, Anne Roberts and Winifred Chance, who wanted to have a museum dedicated to clay and glass. They met with the Glass Art Association at the time, and they thought, okay, let's join forces to raise the money. And the gallery has been in operation since 1993, so going on almost 30 years now. And its goal is to promote, collect, and exhibit works of clay and glass from Canadian artists. Now we're also collecting copper enamel, and Aggie Bainan did play a role also in the history of the museum. It is the National Gallery. We're unique in Canada for our mandate. We do a lot of workshop for adults and teens. We do summer camps and March break camps, and finally school groups are back. So that's pretty exciting because it's a big part of our programming. Kids love to play with ceramics, so we do have different programs that we offer to schools, and it's always linked to our exhibition. So first they do have a tour of the exhibition that we do arrange for the age level that we're dealing with, and then they go in the classroom and do a project that is inspired by a piece or inspired by the exhibition as a whole. So that's pretty exciting.
I'm Peter Flannery, and I'm the curator here at the Canadian Clay and Glass Gallery. So I work on producing the exhibitions that we have on display in the galleries, and also working with our collections here to bring some different pieces in and help take care of them as well. Most of my work is to do with the exhibitions that we have on display, and so working with the artists and helping them to share their stories and the work that they've been doing with the public, and kind of being that mediator is really interesting. So we've selected 6 pieces from our permanent collection to show you. We have about 1,000 pieces in the collection, mainly from artists all across Canada. And this is a storage vault where we keep them all. We did a reorg project last year that helped us to kind of reorganize all of the space and get everything stored more efficiently and safely to keep it preserved, and open up a bit more space so we can continue collecting more pieces. So this piece is by Carl Schantz. It's called Irises in Espresso. It's a multimedia piece. You can see there's some elements of metal incorporated with the glass that has been layered in unique ways and then decorated here for the flowers. He's an artist that's known as a glass blower, but also one who uses glass in these kind of different ways, layering in different colors, patterns, and that sort of thing as well. In terms of our glass work, Carl Schantz is a really important Canadian artist, and this piece is just so stunning in terms of its scale, and it's just so interesting to look at. It's so different from kind of your typical vase. So this is a piece by Laura Donifer. She's a very well-known glass artist. She's shown internationally and kind of worked all around the world in different studios and teaching. And this is one of the works from her Amulet Basket series that she's very well known for. It's made from blown glass for the form itself, And then all of the decoration on the top is flame-worked glass that kind of form those bead-like elements. So that's where she's working with a torch and glass at a really fine scale, hand sculpting basically each of those little elements that are then attached onto the basket. She makes them in all kind of different sizes and colors and forms. And yeah, so this is just a very small one that we have in our collection here. So this work is by Anne Roberts. She's an artist with a really long history in ceramics as well as in the region here. She was one of the driving forces behind creating the Canadian Clay and Glass Gallery, really working to kind of build that momentum behind the gallery in the area and getting it operating in the early days. She was a ceramic artist as well and often created these really interesting pieces, more sculptural rather than functional pieces, and ones that really focused on animals and humans, usually kind of connected, a lot of rabbits and fish in really interesting ways. These are 3 pieces. They're by a family of artists, a studio called Talking Earth Pottery. And they're on the Six Nations, and it's a multi-generational family studio of the Smith family. So their practice is heavily based in their Indigenous culture and bringing in other cultures as well in kind of really interesting ways. And they're really well known for the sgraffito technique that they use here, which is carving away at the ceramic to make that decoration kind of appear and be kind of 3-dimensional. And you can see, like with the bear here, the way that doing the sgraffito technique really gives you the sense of the fur. They've been operating since I think like the 50s, because it started out with Bun Smith and then her son Steve Smith and wife Lee Smith, and then their children are involved as well.